Hello, and welcome to the Drug Discovery World podcast, a podcast covering topics around drug discovery and development, pharma and biotech. My name is Giles, and I'm here to take you through this episode. Today's episode is taken from our fall 2018 issue, and is titled Therapeutics Discovery at MD Anderson Cancer Center. The article was written by Dr. Phil Jones, and this episode will be recited from the author's perspective in first person. The author, Dr. Phil Jones, is VP for Therapeutics Discovery and Head of Drug Discovery for the Institute of Applied Cancer Science at the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center. So now on to the main article. Therapeutics Discovery at MD Anderson Cancer Center. The mission at the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center is to eradicate cancer, which remains a major cause of mortality worldwide. It is the second leading cause of death in the United States and globally, claiming more lives than malaria, HIV and AIDS, and tuberculosis combined, or around 1 out of every 7 deaths. Still, the news about cancer is not all grim, given the incredible advances we have witnessed in cancer treatments over the past several years, highlighted by targeted therapies and novel immunotherapies, including immune checkpoint inhibitors, chimeric antigen receptor, CAR T-cell therapy, and cancer vaccines. Despite the recent success, improvements in drug design are of little value for patients if novel therapeutics cannot be advanced from the bench to the bedside both efficiently, minimising the failure rates to keep costs down, and rapidly, to provide transformative, life-saving medications to as many patients as possible, as soon as possible. At present, the development of a new drug, from discovery to its clinical approval, is about 10 years, with an average cost of $2.6 billion, including the costs of failures. Further slowing drug development is a herd mentality, where companies focus their research and development effort on the latest and hottest therapeutic target, while other equally worthy targets are deprioritized or progressed with limited resources. To address the issues in oncology drug development, MD Anderson have instituted a unique approach that leverages the many attributes of MD Anderson and maintains a singular focus on patients. We built the Therapeutics Discovery Division as a biotech-like organization within the walls of the largest cancer center in the United States, leveraging our size and the quality of our people to transform drug development in a way that places the patient front and center. We envisioned an operation that would complement the research model of biotechnology and pharmaceutical companies by providing an alternative source of impactful therapies. Already, in the past several years, we have made notable advances. We have multiple novel treatments, including small molecule drugs, biologics, and adoptive cell therapies, in early clinical trials, and several others set to enter the clinic in the next 6 months. As we have built our program and implemented our model for drug development, we have learned valuable lessons for more rapidly and efficiently advancing potentially life-saving medications out of the laboratory and into clinical settings around the world. Patients are our shareholders. Ultimately, the aim of all drug development is to improve patient health and well-being. But we have taken this a step further. Patient-focused drug development is the central pillar in our model, guiding all work done within therapeutics discovery. Our teams are driven not by future profits, but by a desire to end the devastating effects of cancer on patients and their families. Being a part of the nation's leading cancer hospital allows us to work with unparalleled proximity and access to patients and clinicians daily. Through those interactions, we are able to understand patients' clinical needs firsthand and can work to address those needs. At MD Anderson, no cancer is rare, so the Therapeutics Discovery team focuses on advancing projects that specifically target unmet medical needs, including tumor types that occur infrequently, and those for which therapies are either lacking or suboptimal. We are acutely aware of the suffering cancer can cause, and each of our team members is passionate about improving the lives of our patients. We consider our patients to be our shareholders, and their survival our bottom line. Our approach. As a drug development engine within the walls of a leading cancer hospital, our Therapeutics Discovery Division is not working to bring the bench to the bedside. Rather, we start with the bench at the bedside with each patient and their cancer. The Therapeutics Discovery Division consists of more than 100 clinicians, researchers, and drug development experts from 4 research platforms at MD Anderson. Our teams are built around scientists who operate at the highest level in their fields, have a multifaceted understanding of drug development, and are able to work effectively in cross-functional teams. They traverse both the research and clinical sides of the process and understand what is required to move a medicine, whether it be a small molecule drug, a biologic, or cellular therapy, into and through the clinic. We have taken advantage of having multidisciplinary researchers and clinicians under one roof, enabling a focused effort dedicated to the mission of bringing impactful therapies to the patients at MD Anderson. Our strength does not rest solely in our teams though, but also within the broader institution we call home. Through daily interaction with world-renowned clinicians and researchers at MD Anderson, we can collaborate in ever more powerful and rapid ways to break down the traditional silos that have hampered others, yielding no shortage of novel ideas for our drug developers to pursue for therapeutic interventions. A key advantage for members of Therapeutics Discovery is real-time access to clinical data and insights from physician scientists who treat more than 130,000 cancer patients each year, helping us to tailor our drug discovery and development projects to meet the needs of patients they see in the clinic. For example, ideas for therapeutics discovery projects may emerge from physicians seeking therapies for a subset of patients with a specific tumour type that fails to respond to treatment, or who relapse on treatment due to molecular differences in their tumours. Ideas may also develop from an innovative discovery in a research lab, or from the implementation of disruptive technologies, such as advanced high-throughput functional genomics. Often, based upon our collaborations, we are able to pursue ideas for therapeutic strategies long before the data appear in a peer-reviewed publication. Once therapeutics discovery scientists are approached with a new idea, a cross-functional team is assembled to assess the program around 3 key pillars: potential clinical impact, medical need, strength of the biological rationale, and feasibility of developing a therapeutic, small molecule, biologic, or cellular therapeutic. In some instances, additional data needs to be generated to clarify gaps in the data package before a program is adopted into the pipeline, while in other cases, a limited set of killer experiments are conducted within therapeutics discovery that allow us to make rapid go-no-go decisions in 8 weeks or less. Programs that pass this hurdle are then brought into the therapeutics discovery portfolio, where a team of 10 to 25 researchers is empowered to rapidly advance the project towards the clinic, using key objectives and milestones. The goal is to identify therapeutics that meet our criteria for effective use in humans. Simultaneously, the teams also work to define a focused clinical plan that includes patient stratification biomarkers to identify those individuals most likely to benefit, as well as early proof of biology biomarkers to show the drugs are working in humans. Progress on the portfolio is monitored through regular review meetings with internal and external advisory boards, and resources are redirected according to needs and progress. Culling investigational agents early in the development process can be a difficult step, particularly when substantial resources have already been expended. However, we know that more than half of drugs fail in phase 3 clinical trials due to a lack of efficacy. Thus, we are ruthless in our assessments of target candidates and project advancement. We can be ruthless because we own the compounds under investigation, and our decision-making is not bound by contractual agreements with other institutions. Through this approach, we maintain control of the program and can commit a greater amount of time and resources to rapidly move the compound through clinical development. Because we are treating patients with drugs developed within MD Anderson, we are now about as close as we can get to developing a drug at the bedside, conducting real-time assessments of the drug's effects on a tumour in patient-derived material, such as patient-derived xenografts and ex vivo organotypic cultures. Leveraging patient-centric translational research catalyzes knowledge transfer to the clinic to further refine our patient stratification strategies for our new therapeutics. A major milestone. One of our first successes using this approach is the compound IACS-10759, a small molecule inhibitor of oxidative phosphorylation, OXPHOS. With the wealth of clinical data available to us at MD Anderson, we were able to identify OXPHOS as a critical but often overlooked tumour vulnerability in many cancer patients. Although the study of metabolic reprogramming in cancer is not new, much of the recent focus has been on upregulation of glycolysis. It is now becoming clear that OXPHOS is also upregulated in certain tumour types, such as lymphoma and leukemia, which rely on use of the electron transport chain to sustain bioenergetic and biosynthetic processes. Additionally, multiple solid tumours either are hardwired to depend on OXPHOS for their energetic needs, or they upregulate OXPHOS as a resistance mechanism to other therapeutic treatments. When we saw a need in our patients for therapies that combat tumours driven by OXPHOS, we were able to move quickly and decisively. IACS-10759 is the first small molecule drug to be developed from concept to clinical trial by the Therapeutics Discovery Division, advancing to the clinical setting within 18 months of its identification. It is the product of an extensive medicinal chemistry campaign of lead optimization to engineer in the molecule all the properties required to make it effective for use in humans. We have recently published the results from initial preclinical studies of IACS-10759, showing that in models of AML and brain cancer dependent on OXPHOS, this agent reduces tumour growth through inhibition of cellular proliferation and induction of apoptosis at well-tolerated doses. In another preclinical study by Lisanu Darib and colleagues, IACS-10759 was demonstrated to have benefit in types of lung cancer characterized by mutations in the SMARCA4 gene. Cancer cells with this mutation show an increase in respiratory capacity and oxygen consumption, increasing their vulnerability attack by agents such as IACS-10759 that inhibit OXPHOS. IACS-10759 has now advanced to Phase 1 clinical trials in relapsed refractory AML, supported by the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and in solid tumours. Summary of lessons we have learned. I will now summarise some of the lessons we have learned about drug development. Focus on your patients. They are your shareholders, and their survival is your bottom line. Prioritise intimacy and immediacy, breaking down silos between clinicians, researchers, and patients. Start with the bench at the bedside, with each patient and their cancer. Foster an environment that encourages collaboration across teams and disciplines. Bring in professionals who have a multifaceted understanding of drug development. You never know where the next breakthrough idea is coming from. Be prepared to invest time in exploring ideas from potential collaborators. Clarify the drug discovery process to potential collaborators. Explain why rigorous target validation is required and why certain experiments are defined as go/no-go experiments. Assemble the best team to make projects successful and bring in additional external collaborators and partners if resources are required. Develop a ruthless mindset when it comes to culling less promising agents in development. Be open to change of course along a project's development path. A program might have more clinical impact elsewhere. Every program needs a champion. Aim for therapeutic targets that improve patient care rather than the bottom line. And finally, although conducting research and clinical trials in-house has marked benefits for drug development, leverage external capabilities with CROs and CMOs when needed to improve efficiency. It should be noted that some of these lessons are not translatable to pharmaceutical companies guided by a shareholder model of corporate governance, nor can they be easily implemented at smaller academic centres lacking the advantages of scale of major cancer centres such as MD Anderson. Above all else, we have learned that a patient-guided approach must underlie all that we do, starting with identifying the most compelling patient needs at our centre and working in close proximity to our patients to continually improve drug development. Aligned with this approach of breaking down walls between healthcare professionals and patients is the urgency of removing silos between clinicians and researchers that have historically hindered drug development. Because the Therapeutics Discovery Division at MD Anderson is not driven by profits, we are able to focus less on drugs that improve the bottom line and more on those that improve patient outcomes, including in patients with rare tumour types that would fly under the radar of other institutions. An important message for smaller cancer centres and community physicians is that if one of their patients seems to be out of treatment options, it is worthwhile consulting with the nearest comprehensive cancer centre, such as MD Anderson, for additional assistance before considering hospice care. We often have multiple clinical trials underway for patients with refractory or relapsed disease, and we hope to make more physicians aware of the potentially beneficial therapeutic agents available to their patients through enrollment in these studies. Enrollment in clinical trials is not only beneficial for patients, but clinical research as a whole. We believe that if other centres prioritised clinical trial enrollment to the same extent as MD Anderson, we could drive clinical research forward much more rapidly and efficiently than we do today. Breaking down walls with new collaborations. Our approach to drug development already has captured the attention of pharmaceutical companies, leading to beneficial collaborations that continue to bring the bench and bedside closer. Many of the programs developed by Therapeutics Discovery are already partnered with biopharma companies, including GlaxoSmithKline, Astellas Pharma, and Ipsen, while others have attracted the attention of venture capital investors to provide additional funding to accelerate the programs. For instance, at MD Anderson, we are collaborating with Bridge Biopharma and have created a new company called Navir Pharma, with the primary aim of developing drugs that inhibit a tyrosine protein phosphatase called SHP2. This phosphatase provides an important link to RAS-ERK-MAPK pathway involved in cellular proliferation and survival. Excessive activation of this pathway has been found to contribute to many forms of cancer, as well as resistance to targeted therapies. It is important to remember, as well, that many cancer patients need more than just treatments to reduce or eradicate their tumours. They also need therapeutic approaches that can help alleviate the side effects of therapy and improve their quality of life. To this end, MD Anderson has partnered with Accelerator Life Science Partners to launch Magnolia Neurosciences Corporation. Using research from Therapeutics Discovery, this company will develop medicine to treat neurological problems that patients may experience after undergoing chemotherapy, such as chemobrain, a condition associated with memory loss and general cognitive problems, and peripheral neuropathy. Conclusion: Therapeutics Discovery at MD Anderson. Clinical development of cancer drugs remains a costly and time-consuming process. We believe that many of the improvements in this process made by the Therapeutics Discovery Division at MD Anderson over the past several years, above all else answering only to our patients, represent key building blocks in the long-term goal of eradicating cancer and improving the lives of patients worldwide. This article was written by Dr. Phil Jones. Dr. Phil Jones is VP for Therapeutics Discovery and Head of Drug Discovery for the Institute of Applied Cancer Science at the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center. He has more than 22 years of drug discovery experience. Dr. Jones earned his PhD from the University of Nottingham and completed his postdoctoral research at Philipps Universitat Marburg. If you've enjoyed this episode, then you can subscribe to Drug Discovery World by visiting our website at ddw-online.com, where you can also view our articles, including references and images, and download all of the original PDFs. You can find the links in the show notes. If you're enjoying the podcast, then do leave us a review and subscribe, and you can also follow us on social media on LinkedIn and Twitter. Thanks for listening, and we'll hope to see you in our next episode.